For what purpose does the gentlewoman from Oklahoma seek recognition?
Madam Speaker, I move to suspend the rules and pass the bill S-3705, the Semiquincentennial Congressional Time Capsule Act.
The clerk will report the title of the bill.
Senate 3705, an act to provide for the creation of a congressional time capsule in commemoration of the semi-quincentennial of the United States and for the purposes.
Pursuant to the rule, the gentlewoman from Oklahoma, Ms. Bice, and the gentleman from New York, Mr. Morelli, will each have control 20 minutes. The chair recognizes the gentlewoman from Oklahoma.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I ask unanimous consent that all members may have 5 legislative days in which to revise and extend their remarks and include additional material on the bill.
Without objection.
Madam Speaker, I yield myself such time as I may consume.
Gentlewoman is recognized.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Today, I urge my colleagues to support S-3705, the Semiquincentennial Congressional Time Capsule Act. This is the Senate companion to H.R. 6243, introduced by my colleagues, Representatives Bonnie Watson Coleman, Robert Aderholt, Maria Salazar, and Dwight Evans. This nonpartisan legislation would authorize the burial of a time capsule in the Capitol Visitor Center to mark the 250th anniversary of our nation's independence. This time capsule is one way that Congress will participate in the nation's year-long celebration of liberty and independence. Amidst our toughest challenges of the day, this legislation reminds us that we can all work together. Under the bill, leaders from both parties will work alongside the architect of the Capitol to compile the capsule's contents. This will include a letter from congressional leadership, books, manuscripts, relics, memorabilia, and more. I'm optimistic that the contents of this capsule will reflect what makes this country great, as well as the challenges we face during this time. The capsule will remain sealed until July 4th, 2276, and the burial site will be marked by a plaque approved by the Committee on House Administration and the Senate Rules and Administration Committee. I thank the ranking member, Mr. Morelli, for working with me on this effort, and I urge my colleagues to support the bill. I reserve the balance of my time.
Gentlewoman reserves. Gentleman from New York.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I yield myself such time as I may consume.
Gentleman is recognized.
Thank you. Madam Speaker, I rise today in support of S-3705, which is, I believe, the original companion to H.R. 469, and I want to thank my friend and fellow House Administrator, fellow House Appropriator, Ms. Bice, for her comments and her support of this important legislation. As I have previously noted on the floor, this bipartisan legislation would authorize the architect of the Capitol to bury a time capsule commemorating the 250th anniversary of the signing of the Declaration of Independence on July 4th, 2026, to be opened on our nation's 500th anniversary in the year 2276. The items in the capsule will be determined by bipartisan, bicameral congressional leaders and include written materials relating to the anniversary representations of notable legislative and institutional milestones, and a message from this Congress to our future colleagues in the 244th Congress. I did say last year I'd hope to be there at the opening. I'm not sure that's possible, but I'm going to do everything I can. But this year's celebration of America's anniversary offers an opportunity to reflect on the resilience of the American experiment. Our nation has faced countless tests to our strength and our unity, including a civil war, 2 world wars, natural disasters, and more. Yet through each of these profound challenges, this country has endured and continued to strive toward the ideals set forth in the Declaration of Independence 250 years ago. During this time of deep division and heightened partisanship, this anniversary reminds us of our shared responsibility to uphold the values of liberty and equality that have defined this nation for 2.5 centuries. I again want to thank the Semiquincentennial Commission for its leadership and planning for this momentous occasion, and I particularly commend my colleague, Congresswoman Watson Coleman, for her leadership in advancing the bill. And I also want to recognize the service of a fellow New Yorker, former House Representative Joe Crowley, whose time and talents have made an indelible mark on the Commission's achievements. I look forward to seeing the items chosen for the time capsule, and which I may not be able to see when they're opened, but I do encourage my colleagues. This is an important measure. It's an important part of our history and our legacy, and look forward to its passage. So thank you, Madam Speaker. I reserve the balance of my time.
Gentleman reserves. Gentlewoman from Oklahoma is recognized.
I reserve.
Gentlewoman reserves. Gentleman from New York is recognized.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I'd like to yield 3 minutes to the distinguished gentlelady from the great state of New Jersey and the author of this bill, Member Bonnie Watson Coleman.
Gentlewoman from New Jersey is recognized.
Thank you, Speaker, and thank you to my colleague. Madam Speaker, the signing of the Declaration of Independence on July 4th, 1776 marked a turning point, not just in our nation's history, but in the global pursuit of democracy and self-governance. The work remains unfinished, and each generation has been tasked with carrying it forward. As we approach the 250th anniversary of that moment, Congress has a responsibility to reflect honestly on where we've been and what we will choose to pass on. This legislation authorizes the architect of the Capitol to create a time capsule to be sealed and buried in the Capitol Visitor Center, where it would be unsealed on our nation's 500th anniversary on July 4th, 2276. And while we won't be there to open it, we should be there to see what goes into it. The capsule will include items, as has been mentioned, that capture the institutional history of Congress, significant legislative milestones, and a message from the 119th Congress to those who will serve long after we're gone. As a co-founder and co-chair of the American 250 Caucus, I'm proud to see this legislation move forward as a part of our nation's 250th anniversary. As I said, none of us will be here when this capsule is open. That is the point, our responsibility to the generations who will inherit the consequences of our choices. What we do in this chamber every day is history. What we choose to speak up for and speak out against, it defines us. And it will be the legacy that we leave for every governing body that holds this space for years to come. Thank you, Madam Chair, and I yield back.
Gentleman reserves. Gentlewoman from Oklahoma is recognized.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. And I want to mention my colleague, Mr. Morelli, referenced opening the capsule in 2276, and I too would love to see the contents. Although I do wonder if our future colleagues would look at the contents and think, why did they put books in here? Because it may be a little bit technologically behind by the time it's opened. Madam Speaker, I'd like to yield as much time as may be consumed to the gentleman from Alabama, my fellow appropriator, Mr. Aderholt, to speak on the bill.
Gentleman from Alabama is recognized.
Thank you, Madam Speaker, and thank you. I rise today to speak on the Bill 3705, the Semiquincentennial Congressional Time Capsule Act that was led by Congresswoman and fellow Commissioner on the Semiquincentennial Commission, Bonnie Watson Coleman, and also by Senator Tom Tillis of North Carolina. This bill, of course, makes technical changes to Representative Watson Coleman's bipartisan House-passed bill, House Bill 469, to create a congressional time capsule in the commemoration of the semiquincentennial. I think it should be clearly pointed out here that this bill is truly bipartisan, and it is bicameral. It's a piece of legislation that requires the four corners of the congressional leadership to agree on the contents of the capsule, including a joint letter. And I look forward to the final products of this legislation and look forward to seeing what will be in it. Again, this will be something that we all can agree on, and it's great to be working at a time where we can all work together and celebrate our nation's birthday for this 250th celebration. So at this time, I yield back and ask my colleagues to vote yes on the legislation. Thank you.
Reserve.
Gentlewoman reserves. Gentleman from New York.
I'll reserve, and I don't know if the gentlelady's...
Gentleman reserves. Gentlewoman from Oklahoma.
Madam Speaker, I have no further speakers, and I'm prepared to close.
Gentleman from New York.
Yes, thank you,
I was going to call him.
Madam Speaker. I think for all the reasons that have been described, this is an important part of maintaining the history of the last 250 years and making certain that we preserve this so that future generations will know how we got here and how we see the world. I agree with Ms. Bice. Books may not be particularly relevant 250 years from now, and I suppose we should not write in cursive because people won't know what that means. But this is really important. I think it's a reflection of the amazing American experiment, and I'll look forward to the bill being signed. And I hope and I pray that 250 years from now, we will have moved towards, in the words of Jefferson, a more perfect union. And with that, I yield back.
Gentleman from New York yields. Gentlewoman from Oklahoma is recognized.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I could not have said it any better myself, and with that, I urge my colleagues to support S 3705, and I yield back.
Gentleman from Oklahoma yields. The question is, will the House suspend the rules and pass Senate 3705? Those in favor say aye. Those opposed, no. In the opinion of the chair, 2/3 being in the affirmative, the rules are suspended, the bill is passed, and without objection, the motion to reconsider is laid on the table.